Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we've got some very special things to show you. The first one here, and these are both boxed by the way, is two car stereos. The first one is the Philips DC954, which, if you don't know, was featured in the 1987 James Bond film The Living Daylights. Both of these stereos are here on loan to make a video about, have a look at, from my good friend Bob P. But yes, here is the first one. And then the next one is a Panasonic CQ-RD25EN. I say they're both boxed, they're both in wonderful condition. Bob has entrusted them with me to essentially make a video in sort of any way I can, no major pressure, and see if we can do anything interesting with them. Now, one thing that's going to be interesting about the 954 is it uses the Philips P6 mechanism, and it actually uses it via a logic control system, which adds complexity to an already quite fragile tape deck, so that'll be fun to look into. I don't know if I'm going to be comfortable enough to open this because I've not worked on a logic control mechanism, and the last one I worked on was by my good friend Ben. Ben, if you're watching, I will get to yours at some point, but for today we're going to work on Bob's. We're going to see if they do anything, we're going to see if they work, and what else happens. I apologise for the mess. Everywhere's kind of under renovation, much like sort of my whole life at the moment, so it's a little bit more messy than the previous videos, but hopefully as time goes on this will get a lot cleaner. I just wanted to get this video out so that I could get this video out for one, and that Bob could have his stereos back, because I'm sure he would very much like them back in his collection. Anyway, here is the box for the Philips DC954. It's a very cool box, very 80s. So let's see what the sort of features on the box listed are. So here we go. DC954 digital tuner cassette combination. MCC, which is... oh, what do they call it? I'll have to put the acronym up on the screen. I can't think of that one offhand. Automatic FM program tuning. 15 pre-selections. 5 FM, 5 medium wave and 5 long wave. Soft touch auto reverse with Dolby noise reduction. MSS, which is music search system. The ability to look for a blank spot on a tape to tell the bits in between tracks. Any sort of change that indicates sort of the beginning or the end of a song, that's sort of what this system looks for. High power 4-stage amplifier with fader, bass treble and loudness controls, and security code, trademark, so they trademarked the word security, the sentence security code, interestingly. Theft deterrent. What have we got on the side here? Oh, is that it? Micro-controlled, yes. Micro-controlled automatic FM tuning, theft deterrent, high-power amplifier, electronic auto-reverse controls, electronic noise reduction system, and AIS, automatic info search. As you can see, we've got the Dolby logo there as well. I probably should show a sort of close-up of these things as well, because I know I'm filming on standard definition, so my detail is not quite what it would normally be. There you go. That's sort of around the side, and it looks like there we've got a diagram of something. What have we got there? Adapter cable. Oh, can you put a CD changer on this? That'll be interesting to have a look at. Not that I have it, but it'd be interesting to see if that is one of the functions. Anyway, let's open the box and have a look. What have we got in here? It still has its factory polystyrene inserts and everything. Here we go. We don't have the manuals in there, unfortunately, but that is okay. He's probably got the manuals at home. I know he keeps those sort of things safe. Maybe I'll ask him for a scan before we put it in. The two end bits are missing. Again, I assume they're at home somewhere. But here it is, in its entirety. This is a very special radio. These are very, very rare. I've actually wanted one for the personal collection to tinker with, but I'm yet to find one. I know when Ben found his, he was very lucky, and the seller was quite reluctant to sell it from what I hear as well. But let's have a look at this. Bob did give me the security code, so I will type that in. For now, I need to go get my DIN to ISO adapter so we can power this, so please stand by. Okay, we're plugged into power. Well, the power supply is set to the right voltage. We're about to plug it into power right now. So join me, friends, as we do so. Oh, I heard a pop from the speakers, which you may have also heard. At the moment, it's doing the thing that Philips radios do sometimes, where they just need to kind of sit and gather their bearings. Let's just make sure the memory wire's plugged in, because they are pretty fussy about that. Yes, it is. Yep. Okay, so it clearly needs a minute to sort of figure itself out. I may leave the camera rolling so we can do a time lapse. Eventually we should see code appear with any luck. Let's pop that there. Finally, stereo is alive. So hold on one moment while I go and get the passcode. There we go. With the code entered from Bob, the radio is alive. Right, let's get it round the right way and see what we can do with it. I'll plug the aerial in. It's only a, I forget the type of antenna it is. Right, let's see if we can get any FM reception. So we need to go to here. Our volume dial's very sensitive, but the radio's working. I best not play too much of that, otherwise I will be nuked from existence. Tunes pretty well. Tunes very well. I apologise for the handycam constantly refocusing. That volume dial is extremely sensitive. Anyway, we all want to see the star of the show, and that's whether the cassette deck works. Obviously, I'm not going to put a tape in here for a first run. I need to put my typical gutted Allsop 3 in there to see if we actually have a mechanism that'll function, and hopefully it won't get jammed in it, which is my worry. With these 954s, it's pretty risky to go ahead and put stuff in here, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, just as I suspected. It does not want to take the tape at all. You can see the two MSS lights come up, the music search system, and then it just kind of gives up. That's actually less than I expected it to do. I thought it would at least try and take it in. Yeah, it is supposed to take a tape in. That's not good. Oh dear, what's wrong with this? I don't want to push it all the way in case it doesn't give it to me back. Right, so I guess the only thing we can do is take the lid off and see if there's anything obvious. Let's see if we can get the beast open. It's normally not very difficult with these Philips ones. You normally just have to pry the top off and it should come straight off. So we'll have a look. So start from the very edges. Carefully working our way around. There it is. So we are in the top of it. Let us have a look at it. So what we've experienced is very typical of these 954s, where they just don't work. That's very, very common. I'm going to see what's happening when I put a tape in there. So let's put the code in for a minute. Code is in. Right, so let's actually see what's happening when I'm putting a tape in there. Basically nothing. Yeah, you can get the tape all the way in and it just doesn't respond. Is it jammed? Is that the problem? Oh, there you go. No way does it just work. You are kidding me. Oh my god. A Philips P6 that just works? Ben spent ages restoring his. It even changes sides. What the hell? How is that even possible? Okay, so since this just works, I'm gonna have to try a music tape. I'm in awe. A Philips P6 mechanism doesn't just work. This is strange. This is very rare. Okay, I'm going to have to be careful playing this because I can't find my copyright-free tape that I made, so I'm probably going to have to make another one of those soon. So I'll play a bit of this and see what happens. It's playing. I think it's a bit fluttery, and maybe we'll see when we calibrate it in a minute, or at least look at it. But it just plays. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. This tape deck just works. I don't really understand. Philips P6 decks never work, let alone a 954. And I was listening to it, and it sounds fine, other than maybe an azimuth misalignment. So I think I'm just going to clean it, and we'll have a look at it on the software, because this is crazy. Like, what? They never work properly. How is this one working? Well, that's a problem. Turns out that Sony's tripod mounts on these particular cameras were plastic mounted. So this camera has now stopped being the YouTube camera because, fair enough, 90s ABS plastic, not very good. Damn. I love this camera because it has a screen and everything, but this is no good. Like, I'm going to have to finish the rest of the video on my phone. I've glued it back on. I guess in order to continue using this as a YouTube camera, I'm going to have to find some like reinforcing tape or something, maybe some epoxy to put over this to try and use it as a YouTube camera. But yeah, this isn't good. This is clearly a bit of a design flaw. I mean, really? A captive nut in plastic, Sony? I don't even think the rest of the Handycam range is like that, but it sucks because I love this camera. But, oh well, enough about the camera. Back to the fillet. Right, here we are with Wow and Flutter, software Wow and Flutter meter, and yes, I should be using that new NAC software that everybody loves, but this is a Windows 10 computer. It's probably not going to have support forever, so it probably won't be able to run it forever. And please excuse the budgies who have decided that me recording means they need to scream and ruin the audio, so... Ooh. I can actually hear the ticking. I think the flywheels are starting to come apart. That's a very high wow and flutter. Yeah. Oh, it's all over the place. Look at it. It's completely random. I've got a feeling this will need a set of flywheels, which of course I cannot provide because as of recording, we have not yet found a solution to the Philips P6 flywheel plague that's happening. 3D printing is in the works, but I really need someone to 3D scan my good ones before we can get into that. So, yeah, I don't know if you can hear this. You might just about be able to hear that rhythmic ticking. That normally means the flywheels are starting to come apart. Because normally what the rattling means... Oh, I can't talk today, I'm really sorry about this. What the rattling normally means is the outer edge of the flywheel that always cracks is slowly coming apart, and it's now hitting the casing in there. I tend to call it the Philips P6 rattle. They have a particular rhythm. It always sounds like this. And if you listen, it probably coincides with each change of frequency. Yeah, so I don't think this deck is quite right. What's it like in the other direction? It's a little better in that direction, although apparently a little slow. I think the head possibly needs cleaning as well. It seems to be a little bit all over the place, so I might need to try that in a moment. Okay, so I've cleaned the head. Let's see if that makes a difference. A little bit. The wow and flutter is definitely better in that direction, so that proves that one of the flywheels is probably worse than the other one. Because if we put it on side A again, it was not good. It's better than it was, but it's still all over the place. The main thing is you can hear that ticking as well. So now I have the process of taking this tape deck apart. These decks don't look particularly nice to open. Many P6 mechanisms come out without too much fight, but I worry for this one. I remember I looked at Ben's and I sort of said, I really don't want to take this apart because I'm worried about breaking it. I always feel this here, especially with how rare the stereo is. Even though it may have a problem with it, yeah, I don't know, I'm a bit skeptical. We can try and have a look at things though. It seems that the way to get in here is indeed to put a tape in there, which seems counterintuitive honestly, but it does open the screw. So at the very least, I'm going to unplug it so that it's not powered. And we can undo the screw that's in here so that that's out of the way. Right, so in theory this now will come out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the power back on, type the code in again. So I've taken this apart, and interestingly the actual outer edge of the flywheel is not the bit that's broken. It's another failure mode that these flywheels can have, and of course it's not going to show. There you go. If you look in here, you can see the two cracks on this bit here. The two little lines, yeah, they're cracks, because you can see the other side hasn't done it. I think essentially what causes it is over time, belt tension essentially tries to pull these flywheels in a certain direction, and of course that causes a lateral force on the end of that. Now I noticed that both of these flywheels actually have this. I think this one's possibly even worse, or was the other one worse? Oh no, the other one's worse. You can see this one's just starting. Yeah, you can see the lines. That's a totally normal failure mode for these P6 flywheels as well. I have actually seen it to the point where these will rip out and they'll actually sort of come over to the side, because obviously there's nothing supporting the center anymore. You can fill them with glue and epoxy, but I find it a little risky because you've got to make sure that where you glue it and where you epoxy it is exactly in the right spot. So yeah, I would be hesitant to do that. But we could at least treat Bob to another belt here on this deck, because the belt's not looking good. You can see it's not well. Annoyingly, I didn't record me taking this out, but I think you might have seen it in the last clip, but putting the tape in allowed me to get to the screw, which is interesting because it means the eject mechanism apparently needs to work before you can get to the rest of the screws. But, you know, that's an interesting quirk. I'm going to have a look in my belt collection and see if I've got any belts that look like that one. This is as good as I'm able to get it. This is it playing side B. Pretty good, really. I'd be happy with that. But the problem is side A has a huge speed delta, as you'll see very shortly. Look how much higher that is. Crikey. I've even tried 2 different belts. It doesn't seem to make a damn difference. It seems that this deck, for one reason or another, is just significantly faster in one direction than the other. So I think that's just how it's going to have to be, because there's nothing else I can do at this point. I have no spare parts. I've cleaned everything. You know, I fitted a new belt. And that's the best we're going to get. And I managed to dial the azimuth in pretty well, so this should sound fairly good now. Please excuse the fan noise from the power supply, but here's one last test, and it doesn't sound too bad. I can tell that it's fast, but it's not unlistenably fast on side A, and the azimuth's now really dialed in, so Dolby reproduction's pretty good. Side A, try side B. Actually just caught the end of the other song. Let's see if we can rewind to it. We actually fast forwarded, but that's fine. Anyway, I think that's probably about as good as we're going to be able to get this tape deck, so I'm going to call it done. It's technically better than it was. It's now got a belt that doesn't slip, the azimuth's been dialed in, and I've given it a bit of a clean up. So we've kind of done the most we can do for now, so I think we'll move on to the Panasonic next. I've also managed to stop the ticking by adjusting
the bearing preload bit at the bottom, and it's able to stop the ticking. The flywheel is still incredibly warped, but at least it no longer hits the side, which makes its performance a lot more consistent. So now I am truly happy with it. It no longer ticks in either direction. Yep, that's fine. So I think that's as good as we're going to get it, and it doesn't sound bad, does it? Here we are for the final part of the video, the Panasonic CQ RD25EN. So what do we got here? It has RDS, tuner and cassette player. Okay, nice and simple. You can see on the front it's got Dolby noise reduction and a CD input jack, which we always like. Wow, they didn't really sell it to you very hard. No, that's it really. Yeah, that's it. The front of the box is basically all you get. Wow. Anyway, let's peruse the contents. What do we got? Maybe not that end. Let's maybe do the other end. Looks a little busy, that end. Let's try from this end. It's pretty busy either end, I think. Try not to lose everything as it comes out. There we go. This one's even still in its wrapper. Look at that. Look at that. Has this ever been used? I assume so, by the fact that we've got splices of wires. So we'll need to do this with care, for sure. It looks like it comes out the back of this. And there it is. I thought that was an original bill of sale for a minute there. With some of the connection diagram. There we go. Try and hold this up. There we are, in case you need it for some reason. You never know, you may have one. I think some Subarus had these. There's the deck itself. Nice looking deck. Panasonic always knew how to make a very nice looking deck in the 90s. It's got a CD changer input as well, by the looks of it. Yes, it does, because I can see CD on the front. Let's see what it does. This one could be very interesting, because I need to hook it up manually. Yeah, this could be fun. I've got to figure out what all these do. Might need to remove this duct tape as the adhesive is very much finished. There we go. That's not doing a lot anymore. Right, what do we got? We've got the CD changer. That's one of them's probably a pre-out as well for an amplifier. Right, I don't want to let any of these get stuck. That would be powered aerial. Orange should be illumination. I mean, that's if these are following ISO colours. I suppose then again, let's have a look here. Is any of it following ISO colours? Orange. Oh, telephone mute. Oh, of course, I forgot about that function. Blue is motorized antenna though, so it must be following the ISO standards, which is good because it means it probably follows the ISO speaker wiring standards as well. If I don't keep hitting you in the face with various bits of packaging, I apologise for that. Right, let's put all this down the side so I don't lose it. Naturally, the polystyrene is trying to float away. There we go. So that looks like a memory wire to me, especially with its 10 amp fuse. That must be the ignition trigger. Let's have a look again. We got yellow, yep, battery lead, red, power lead, and then black for ground. Yeah, so it's very much following the ISO standard, which is good. That means wiring this up is mostly just going to be the tedium of actually wiring it. No guesswork required, at least. I'll probably get a terminal block to put all this in, so be right back and I'll do that. Believe it or not, this jumble of mess is actually safe and is ready to be plugged in. So let's go. Yeah, we have a power light, that's good. Need to hold it. Hello. That's weird. it doesn't turn on. I definitely hooked up memory. Yeah, I did. I definitely did. Yeah, this does not want to turn on. Wonder why that is. Come on now, really? It's definitely all plugged in. We've got ground and memory all plugged in. The fuse for memory's not blown, is it? No, that's fine. Fuse for memory looks beautiful and intact. Yet it won't turn on. That is weird. That is weird. Because nothing's shorted out, because I've got the rear speaker connections there. I essentially terminated them so they wouldn't touch anything. And although it looks like a mess, the other ones are all terminated safely here, so there's absolutely no reason this shouldn't work. It's not drawing any current when I press the button, like the dials over there are not moving. That is really weird. The fuse can't have blown on the ignition one because, yeah, as soon as I take it out, the power light goes out. That is odd. Yeah, it doesn't want to turn on. Well, I guess that makes this video basically all about that one. Yeah, I've definitely connected everything up. Yeah, because obviously I don't need to connect that one up. That's the ground. That was telephone mute, as we said, because they say orange, I believe it said telephone mute. Yeah, orange telephone mute. Black motor control, like I say, normal ISO. Black ground, yellow battery, red power. Yeah. Yep, battery has 10 amps, ignition has 3 amps, exactly as the wiring diagram says, and yet it won't turn on. That is a shame. The fuses are fine, so I can only assume something's actually happened internally to cause it to do that, which means it may be beyond my expertise at this time. I mean, I could try and plug in the speakers and see if that makes it turn on, but I don't know why it would. That shouldn't have any effect. Yeah, no, sure enough, it didn't. It's annoying because I have another Panasonic that does this as well, where the power light's on and nothing happens. And I never did get to the bottom as to why. I spent, I think, 5 hours trying to trace the circuit, and I never managed to figure it out. So, yeah. That's odd. I'll say it's all hooked up absolutely fine. There was no short circuit there, I absolutely promise you. No TV magic. Because all of the power is there, exactly as it should be. And yes, it doesn't look very nice, but it, you know, it's got power. If it was shorted out, this wouldn't have even lit up. So I don't really know what's going on with that. It does not want to turn on. I suppose we could have a look and see if the connector at the back is, you know, could spray some contact cleaner on it perhaps. How does it look? I might try some contact cleaner, see what that does. Now, I've spent a little while with it and I can't figure it out. There's nothing inside there that looks obviously damaged as far as I can tell. And like I say, I don't fancy another 5-hour circuit session to find nothing. It's basically acting exactly like my other dead Panasonic. And my other dead Panasonic did this completely without warning, so I don't know if it's some kind of problem specific to, you know, this era of Panasonic logic or what, but yeah, that is completely stone dead. I've tried different combinations of the power lead, like you saw, you know, different combinations of memory or whatever, like memory or ignition wire, and it won't turn on. All it shows me is this light here, and that's it. I've pressed every single button there is to press on here, which under normal circumstances very much could wake it. And none of them do. It's completely lifeless. That is a real shame. It may just be dead, at least for the moment. It seems well beyond my ability, unfortunately. So that's it then. It's a shame I couldn't really figure out what was wrong with the Panasonic, but Unfortunately, it's going to be beyond my ability. I don't have enough time at the moment. I don't have enough test equipment to properly check these things. And like I say, it's acting exactly like another one where I spent 5 hours trying to trace the problem with it and I never figured it out. I had a couple of red herrings along the way when I was doing that and none of them ever made sense. Yeah, ironically, we got the Philips one working, so at least one stereo gets to go back to Bob in working condition, so that's something, so he can at least enjoy that one for a little bit. Wish I knew what was wrong with this one. The wiring, it's all wired up correctly. I mean, you saw I followed the wiring diagram to a T, and it didn't want to work. I do not know what's wrong with it. It's really strange. I'm guessing time or something. It's succumbed to the sands of time, I guess. But yeah, it's going to be beyond something I can fix at the moment. So thank you very much for watching this video. Sorry about the drastic change from the Handycam to my phone. Looks like I'm going to be filming on my phone again, now knowing that my Handycam has exploded apart until I can find a way to reinforce it, or maybe just use a different camera. But I mean, it's easier to film on my phone anyway. I should probably keep the Handycam and stuff like that to sort of special videos and that sort of thing. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.